So welcome back, guys, to another episode of Play and Tell. I'm Xander Skullion, and this is a series on the channel where I talk about games I've been playing recently, leave little short impressions, mini reviews, and most importantly, when you walk away, you have something new to play. And before I get into it, what have you been playing? Be sure to leave a comment below. Now, starting the show off, I'm going to talk about not one but two DLCs right now that I've been really enjoying. The first one is for a game that I cannot champion enough that I absolutely love, Vampire Survivors. Have you guys played Vampire Survivors yet? This is a roguelike auto shoot, highly addictive game that you're going to die. You're going to die a lot, but each time you die, the experience and the money you make, you build a stronger builded character, you unlock more characters, and it's a game that I always tell folks they need to check out. And recently there was a Castlevania DLC. That's right, Ode to Castlevania. And you know, seeing the art style from Vampire Survivors, you can definitely tell the developers are very inspired by the Vania series, and this is almost a sense of meeting your heroes. This is a really awesome collaboration, the second collaboration with Konami, because they did do a Contra DLC as well when Operation Galuga came out. But this isn't just a shoehorn of remember berries dangling from the tree of nostalgia. This is a full-fledged stage that's very unique from any other experience for Vampire Survivors. There's also various Castlevania characters you can unlock, like I just currently unlocked Leon, and he's super OP. Every time you choose a different Castlevania character that you unlock, it plays a different, unique remix soundtrack from the series. And the stage itself is full of Castlevania sprite bosses and just a unique take on the Vampire Survivor series. If you've been playing it for years, this is a breath of fresh air. This game just oozes with endorphins. I highly recommend playing this with headphones, because when you have that perfect build and you don't even have to move your character and you're just killing all these sprites, there's like this popping sound. It sounds like bubble wrap. It's just, it tingles. It feels nice. And the DLC is only $3.99. Super cheap. The game itself is $5. So for less than $10, you can have a very addictive experience. I cannot recommend Vampire Survivors Ode to Castlevania DLC enough. And speaking of DLCs, a big shout out and a huge thank you to the folks at Wave 4. They sent me a review code and I did a live stream of River City Girls Double Dragon DLC.
Oh yeah, Double Dragons, Billy and Jimmy, here we go!
That's me!
Yes, this started out as initially an April Fool's joke that Billy and Jimmy would be DLC playable characters for River City Girls, because it does take place in the same universe. And the DLC is only $7.99. I think it's a really great deal. It does bring a breath of fresh air to the River City Girls game, because Billy and Jimmy do play very differently. And I did a review years ago of River City Girls 2, and you know, I feel like they did some updates as well. Some of the gripes that I had for River City Girls 2, mainly when you're close to, like, say, a door, that you have to hit Y to open up the door, but that's also your main melee button. So a lot of times when I was playing River City Girls 2 back in the day, a couple of years ago, I would get too close to a door, I'd be in the middle of a fight, and I'd end up going to another part of the stage. And they fixed that because it's more of a loading action. Like, you can actually see almost a loading screen. So they fixed that little gripe. I really like that nice update, and playing as Billy and Jimmy Lee was just so much fun. And it's kind of funny because unfortunately it doesn't have an exclusive stage or world for Billy and Jimmy for River City Girls 2. If you go through the story mode, they'll refer to you, the NPCs, as, you know, one of the girls in the game and as one of the students, and these guys are like in their 20s.
Out of class. Did you not hear the bell?
Children? Lady, I'm in my 20s.
Not sure that's helping.
Hurry to your desk and watch yourselves. I'll be keeping a knife on you.
I really feel like the folks at WayForward had a lot of fun doing this, and you know, what started out as an April Fool's joke turned out to be a really fun DLC. Now, folks, the holiday season is right around the corner. Maybe you're asking yourself, what could you get your significant other or your sibling? Or maybe you're trying to figure out what game to tell your friends what to get you for Christmas. This game right here is not only what I think a Game of the Year contender, but also a hot exclusive for the PlayStation 5. You guys know I had to talk about Astro Bot. As previous Astro Bot titles, the story in Astro Bot is light but charming. The game begins with the Astro Bots traveling through space aboard a spaceship styled like a PS5 console. A monstrous attack scatters their ship parts and the bots across the universe, and your mission is simple: rescue the bots, restore the ship. While the plot is minimal, it suits the gameplay and perfectly echoing the simplicity of iconic platformers like Super Mario. The game delivers engaging platforming gameplay with the emphasis on exploration and collecting. Players gather not only the lost bots, but also coins, which can be used to purchase collectibles and other hidden items. With 50 planets spread across multiple galaxies, each accumulating into a boss fight, there's plenty to do. Boss fights are the highlight, offering a mix of challenging creativity, and the levels also feature 5 to 7 hidden bots, which are cleverly sealed, making the hunt for all 300 bots satisfying for completionists. Now, admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of 3D platformers. I'm very picky, because I feel like a lot of it's like a collectathon that's just padding just to make the game feel a little longer. Well, Astro Bot, it does that. You have to collect various bots to unlock various galaxies and progress in the game, but they do it very interestingly in the sense that it celebrates the Sony PlayStation brand. It almost makes you think of like Smash Brothers, when you would collect the various trophies and learn various games in history of Nintendo. You kind of had that celebration with Astro Bot with the various unique bots that you rescue throughout each stage. And I enjoyed going back to the hub world and seeing what new access I would unlock with new features. That there was this gacha machine. I was getting some major flashbacks of Shenmue. Gacha machines in video games are very dangerous. I think I'll have another. But Astro Bot is quite the charmer. It has snappy gameplay. It really utilizes the PlayStation 5 controller. I feel like this would be a great introduction to the PlayStation 5 for anyone during the Christmas season. This is a Christmas morning game. This is the game you want to find under your tree if you haven't played it yet. Oh, and did I mention there's unique stages as well, like an Ape Escape stage? You guys remember Ape Escape? I was grinning from ear to ear playing this stage, and the God of War stage. Oh my gosh, chef's kiss on that one. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom offers a bold and refreshing take on the series, placing Zelda herself at the center of the story. The game begins with Link's victory over Ganon being cut short as he is drawn to a mysterious shadowy rift, leaving Zelda to step up as the hero of Hyrule. Armed with her magical Tri-Rod and aided by her companion Tri, Zelda must close the ambitious rift spreading throughout the land and rescue Link. Now, the gameplay is driven by a new mechanic called Echoes, which allows Zelda to summon special replicas of objects and enemies. This system brings a creative twist, enabling players to experiment with a variety of strategies for both puzzles and combat. Zelda also gains a sword fighter form, transforming into the ghostly version of Link to wield his sword, bow, and bombs. This form is powered by an energy meter, ensuring that it's a strategic move instead of just being overpowering. And the limitation really balances the gameplay, requiring thoughtful engagement instead of allowing players to just brute force their way through each encounter. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is one of those games that, you know, socially when it came out, everyone was hyping it up, and I felt like they all played it the first week, beat it, and moved on. And it's a very unfortunate thing, because I feel like Echoes of Wisdom is a very unique Zelda experience. It's a game that's still unfortunately in my backlog because I've had so many other games sent to the studio to review and other games that kind of push it onto the wayside, but this is a very puzzle-heavy Zelda, and that may turn some folks off who like more of an action-based game because it does have some action aspects to it, but not as much as to say, Link's Awakening, which, shares this kind of art style that I absolutely love. This is a game I'm definitely going to have to go back to and eventually beat. Maybe this will be my holiday break game because I feel like this is a game that needs all your attention, I feel like it's a lot of fun. It has a lot of charm to it. And if you know anyone who's a Zelda fan, again, holiday seasons are right around the corner. And if you're a Zelda fan, this is definitely a game to check out. Now, the next game I want to talk about, I have to give a big shout out and a huge thank you to the folks at Sony and my good friend GameNChick. Check out her channel. I have a link to her channel in the description below. This is the old school shout out for allowing me to collaborate and play Horizon Lego Adventures. If you've played a Lego game before, you'll find yourself right at home with Lego Horizon Adventures. It combines the classic Lego formula, lighthearted storytelling, brick-building worlds, and cheeky humor with the universe of Horizon. The game delivers bite-sized levels of straightforward platforming, collecting, and combat as you take on the role of Aloy and other unlockable allies. As expected, the tongue-in-cheek retelling of Horizon's story is full of dad jokes and puns, and I absolutely love it.
Don't let go!
I got you! Do you hear that music?
Between missions, you'll explore Mother's Heart, a central hub where you can customize the environment with Lego kits from collections like Lego City, or you could be like me and just put porta potties everywhere. Now I have to tell you guys a secret. Get a little closer. I've never played a Horizon game. I know, shocking. But with that being said, I can honestly say that you could enjoy this game without having any prior knowledge to Horizon Zero Dawn. Now I will say, and I've noticed this, especially because this isn't my first rodeo with the Lego games. I played the Star Wars, the Lord of the Rings back in the day. It does help to kind of know about the game that you're playing because there are some like little jokes that I do feel like flew right over my head because I hadn't played Zero Dawn. But I feel like the real bread and butter to Horizon Lego Adventures is the co-op. When me and GameNChick were playing, it was so much fun. I had a blast. This is probably one of the best Lego games I've ever played, and I've played a lot of them in the past. And folks, the last game I want to talk about is Dragon Quest III 2D HD Remake. I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan, and this is a game that's been under my radar for a couple years now. When they had that Dragon Quest celebration, they initially announced it, and I've played Dragon Quest III numerous times. I've played it on the NES, I played it on the Game Boy Color, I've even played fan translations on the Super Famicom. I even had the Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 mobile ports that were released on the Switch a couple years ago. Not my favorite ports, but I do enjoy the old school Akira Toriyama artwork. So I'm going into this as a Dragon Quest fan, but also with caution towards the modern audience. And here's why. Graphically, it's a beautiful game. I love what Square Enix is doing with these like 2D kind of sprite 3D remakes like we saw with Octopath Traveler and, Triangle Strategy and Live Alive. And Dragon Quest III looks absolutely beautiful with this art style. But this is an old school RPG. This is at the end of the day, a very early JRPG that came out back in the late 80s. And I feel like Square Enix was really trying to make this game accessible to the modern audience, but at the same time pleasing old school fans. So honestly, I'm in the process of playing it right now. It's a mixed bag, to be honest. The story itself is very, very bare bones. I mean, you're playing as this silent protagonist hero. Your father was battling, this evil guy. He got stuck in a volcano, and they're like, we don't know what happened to your father, and you just gotta kind of pick up in his footsteps when you turn 16. It's a trope we've seen in numerous years and numerous JRPGs, and this is no exception whatsoever. And the fact that your party is just hired guns. There's no character development with Dragon Quest III. And I'm not trying to make it sound like this is a bad game, but I'm trying to warn a lot of, modern gamers going into this game. Maybe if you've played Dragon Quest XI or Dragon Quest VIII, this is going to be a very toned down experience from those previous games. But if you want to play an old school RPG, if you've always been curious about those old JRPG games, this is the way to go, because I do feel like there's a lot of quality of life improvements, including, the map and the navigation of where to go. There's no cryptic way of like where to navigate next, which was a huge problem back in the day with some of these older RPGs. And for the first time ever, this is a Dragon Quest game with a difficulty setting. You have easy, normal, and hard. And, I was playing it in normal, having a fun time. I knew what I was getting myself into. I've played Dragon Quest III numerous times, but I was like, I want to put it in Draki mode, which is like easy mode. And I'm telling you guys, this kind of transforms the game. It makes it into what was a grind fest into like what I call a podcast game. This is a game that you would play listening to a podcast, going into dungeons, fighting monsters, leveling up, getting gold, getting next to the next town, updating your gear, going back, rinse and repeat. It was kind of therapeutic, to be honest. And I'm just getting over a head cold. And when I was first playing Dragon Quest III, this 2D HD remake, I was almost in a fever dream. I played 6 hours and didn't even realize it. Dragon Quest III really is peak when you're trying to go to the roots of a JRPG. But anyway, guys, those are the games I've been playing recently. If you want to hear more about some games I've been playing, and if you enjoy indie games, check out my new podcast, the Indie Credible Podcast with Jeffrey Wittenhagen. Every week we're talking about indie titles. It's been so exciting, really counterproductive for a backlog. I mean, every episode I'm finding a big slew of games to play, so I'm going to be talking about those, and it's going to go into play and tell as well. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, but also ring the bell so you're notified on all future content that comes out on this channel. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and as always, happy gaming.